everyone, and welcome back to the Tourism Chat Show. I'm Michelle Caldwell, and today we have a big episode just for you. Yes, it is another one in the TRENZ Unpacked series, and today we're going to Rotorua. We're going to be talking with Andrew Wilson, the CEO of RotoruaNZ. But first, we wanted to cover off what's happening today. And today is a big one because at 3 o'clock this afternoon, your TRENZ appointment schedules go live. So that means you're going to be getting an email, if you're the key appointment taker, with access to view your schedule on TRENZ Connect. So what happens now? What should you be doing next to make sure you're maximising every single opportunity? Let's dive in. Well, first up, will we get a missed appointments list at TRENZ this year? Yes, the good news is there's new functionality this year that means that once appointment requests close, you'll be able to download a full list of your requests from TRENZ Connect. And this is super handy for cross-checking who you may have missed so you can follow up and still make that connection. Have you got a gap in your schedule? Well, don't worry about it. Head over to the appointment stream, click on your available time slot, and boom, you'll see a list of buyers also available at that time. You don't even need to be connected to request an appointment. It will confirm automatically. It's easy as. Do you want to be a little bit more strategic than that? Well, you can go and click on the buyer's profile, and at the bottom of their page, you'll see some mutual available times. So this is a great opportunity to send a quick intro with your appointment request. Let them know why you want to meet and how you think you could work together. A little effort here goes a long way in securing some great meetings. And of course, networking isn't just about appointments. We had a whole show on that. We've got a whole show coming up on that next week. But TRENZ has built-in breakfasts on the show floor each day this year, along with morning and afternoon teas. There's lunch breaks, and there's a Wednesday afternoon networking function. So if you still need to connect with buyers, use these informal moments to chat, build relationships, and create opportunities. Maybe even offer a coffee catch-up or a lunch meeting. Sometimes the best deals happen outside the appointment schedule. Now, a key reminder, you can cancel up to 8 appointments if they don't feel relevant to your business. But keep in mind, buyers can also do the same. So make sure you're refining your schedule wisely. And if you do receive a cancellation request, make sure you jump back into the appointment stream to see what other buyers you may be able to meet at that time to keep your appointment streams full. And finally, the big one. Preparation is key. So you've done your research when making your requests, but now it's the time to research the buyers you're actually meeting with. Know who they are, what they sell, and start to work out how you can add value to their business and get your pitch sorted. Also, check that your presentations are ready, your key talking points are sharp, and that you're feeling organized and excited about being on site at TRENZ in just over a month's time. This is your chance to make an impact, so go in prepared, proactive, and ready to connect. Let's make those appointments count. See you all at TRENZ. Now, it is my great pleasure to introduce the CEO of RotoruaNZ, Andrew Wilson. He's joining me today for a chat about all things Rotorua. What's going on there? What can we expect to see? What are some of the familiars that the buyers will be offered? And maybe we can get some exclusives out of him about the surprises at TRENZ. Or maybe not. Let's see. But I'm going to leave you with that. Can't wait to see you all at TRENZ. Don't forget to come and say hi if you've enjoyed these episodes. Would love to meet you, and we'll talk to you soon. But in the meantime, we'll be back next week with our second to final TRENZ Unpacked episodes before we actually get to TRENZ. And we're once again going back to Rotorua. We've got Lou Badley joining us to talk all about networking. It's a good one, guys. Don't miss it. Make sure you mark your diaries for Wednesday next week. We'll see you then. Ka kite. Kia ora, Andrew, and welcome to the Tourism Chat Show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Now, what we like to do firstly is obviously introduce yourself to our listeners. Could you tell us a little bit about your role and what you do?
Yeah, so obviously Andrew Wilson, I'm the Chief Executive at RotoruaNZ. So RotoruaNZ is Rotorua's, I've got a lot of acronyms now, regional tourism organisation, economic development agency. We run 3 sites. We also look after a couple of venues in terms of the Energy Event Centre and Sir Howard Morrison Centre, and we also look after major events, sort of rounding us out. So just over 100 odd lucky people who get to deliver a whole lot of awesome stuff for Rotorua.
Yeah, brilliant. And speaking of major events, TRENZ is back in Rotorua this year. We're very excited about that. How does it feel to have the country's biggest tourism trade event return to the city?
I mean, it feels really good. I think it feels like it's coming home to its rightful kind of location. So we're certainly really excited about hosting TRENZ again. It's a logical step off the back of meetings last year to see TRENZ here this year. It feels like it's quite a while ago since it was last here. So well overdue.
Yes. Yeah, when was the last time TRENZ was in Rotorua?
Oh, geez. It was certainly well pre-COVID. I'm trying to think if we were kind of 2018, maybe 2017.
Yeah.
Feels it's a lot. Trying to recall it myself, and
Yeah, I know TRENZ is always very memorable in Rotorua, and we often talk about the final night function there, but we'll get into that a little bit later on. What do you think makes Rotorua the perfect destination for hosting TRENZ?
So, look, I think certainly Rotorua is certainly recognised as one of the preeminent international tourism destinations for New Zealand. So I think that certainly plays into it. We've got a lot of product here, and certainly when you kind of think about where tourism's innovated over the last 20 or 30 years, there's plenty of innovators that are based here. I think one of the things that's really special is just the way the operators come together. So it was certainly something that a lot of other destinations comment when they see Rotorua kind of turn up. It definitely turns up as a pack, and so there's a real sense whānau here, and they definitely do. They've got each other's backs, and I think that's certainly part of the why it's so special. I think practically speaking, we've got a lot on offer in quite a small kind of tight spatial area. So whether you're staying from the hotels to the operators to the Energy Event Centre and Sir Howard Morrison, it's all walkable, and certainly just makes it a really special experience.
Yes, and I often find those occasions after the official program's finished, you've got Eat Street there, which is a fabulous destination for everybody to kind of catch up afterwards, and it's a nice little congregating spot, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And so lots of bars and restaurants in a nice little tight space.
Yes, yeah, no, very good. And can you share some of the key themes or focus areas for this year's TRENZ?
So I think, certainly one of the key focus areas for us, I think, where to start. There's a bit to kind of unpack in that question.
Yeah.
So we're finding that this year is really about making sure that we're showcasing everything that we've got to offer from a Rotorua perspective. We're putting a lot of energy into the Host City for Meal program that's securing on the Tuesday morning. Certainly everyone's in for a really special welcome at the pōhiri at Sir Howard Morrison before the Welcome to TRENZ function on the Tuesday night. So we've separated those two events out, which I think is going to be pretty special for people. And, again, it's really trying to showcase, we talk a lot around manaakitanga, but so it is very much about we demonstrate that manaakitanga not just to the international buyers, but also all the other sellers that are attending from around the country.
Yeah. And how are your local tourism operators preparing for the influx of international buyers and media that are coming?
Yeah, look, they're all definitely up for it. I know they're all really excited. They've already, if people haven't spotted it, they've already circulated a whole lot of discount codes for any of our tourism whānau from around the rest of the country that are keen to go and experience anything. There's some fantastic deals kind of stashed away in there. But a lot of them are also thinking about how do they kind of sharpen up their own kind of products? How do they make sure that they're putting their best foot forward? So this is the best opportunity they've got to make sure that actually it's not just talking about it from a brochure. They can actually get people out and about to experience their amazing offerings.
Yeah, and that's one of the most valuable parts, I think, of hosting TRENZ is being able to get those buyers through because, brochures can only do so much and even videos can only do so much. It's about being in that experience and really having that experience yourself, I guess. Rotorua is always evolving as a destination. What exciting new tourism products and experiences can visitors expect to hear about at TRENZ this year?
Look, there are a couple still waiting in the wings that I think are still embargoed.
Right.
And they're frantically trying to get themselves ready for TRENZ, and
Yep.
I hope they do, because I think there'll be a couple of really exciting kind of new things that people wouldn't have expected to see.
Mm.
Alongside that, in the time frame since obviously TRENZ was last year, there's been a whole lot of investment as well. So that ranges from, you could head out to Hell's Gate or out to Akiri Falls, and we've seen new zipline products or reinvestment in existing products. Skyline completed a massive upgrade in terms of all of their facilities over that intervening period. And then, of course, we've got an amazing new spa down on the lakefront, Wairiki, which I'm sure many people will be heading down there to check out, which is a pretty spectacular product. So I think overall, there's a whole lot of new stuff that people won't necessarily have experienced. But we've got a couple of surprises, hopefully, that'll get delivered in time for just to be the kind of icing on the cake.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds very exciting. And how is Rotorua balancing adventure tourism with cultural and ecotourism experiences? You've got a lot going on there.
Yeah, we've got a lot going on. Like, it's always one of those hard things in terms of trying to arrive. What's our USP in terms of the destination? But I think, look, the two things are increasingly actually coming together, and what we're seeing is actually even more of a weaving of that kind of cultural tourism experience into some of those ecotourism offerings. I know that there's a couple of businesses that have got some new product offerings on the wings that do weave together exactly those points, which will be really exciting. So I won't steal their thunder because I'll get in trouble. But overall, that's a core kind of role for our marketing department as well, in terms of how we turn up in respective markets. And look, we obviously look to try and balance that presentation out depending on who we're talking to. But overall, we're blessed to have lots and lots of product. Yeah.
Yeah. And I have to say, I know it's probably more of a domestic campaign, I think, but I'm loving the robe trip that you've got out there at the moment. That was really quirky and a little bit different. And it sort of really made heads turn. So well done on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I know we're really proud of that piece of work, and I think it's trying to showcase a slightly different side of our offering that we haven't necessarily kind of focused on in the past. So I think everyone knows us for the kind of the domestic come and roll down a hill, or all that kind of the more adventure type orientated stuff, but certainly from a luxury couples come and have something which is a little bit more kind of wellness space. That's certainly the target audience.
Yeah, and I think it's just a little bit of fun too, which is totally nice to see in campaigns, isn't it? Particularly in tourism, because we are in the business of fun, and sometimes I think we get a little bit caught up in ourselves and make it a little bit too serious, and we forget about that fun.
I think that's a really good point, Michelle. I think if I think about Rotorua, it is known for not taking itself too seriously. So there is a little bit of that kind of sense of humour, and it's hopefully come through in that, but not in a cheesy way. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah. No, awesome. And are you able to give us a little bit of a sneak peek into some of the special plans or unique experiences that delegates can expect at TRENZ this year? I know for those of us who were at meetings last year, the pōhiri was amazing, and just closing the main road and that sort of stuff. What have you got planned at TRENZ?
Yeah, look, we've certainly got some pretty spectacular things planned. I don't want to let too much stuff out of the bag.
Sure, okay.
But yeah, look, certainly the pōhiri will be equally spectacular, I think, but for a different set of reasons. So that's going to be something to really watch out for. I know talking to TIA, they're saying the numbers that have kind of signed up for that already, they're really getting up there. So we're expecting that it's going to be a big turnout. The Welcome to TRENZ function, I know they're just finalising the final details for that. We've separated that out from the pōhiri, so it's on a different night. I think it's just really ensuring that we're following tikanga properly in terms of the welcome, and then separating out probably what's a bit more of a party type function as opposed to the more formal welcome. So that's going to be a little bit of a difference in terms of what people might have experienced otherwise. I think the host city for Mill, I know the team are putting countless hours into that at the moment, and we've learned what we did at meetings last year. Got a really great program. I think we've got around about sort of 20 operators on board for that host city for Mill. So people have got going to experience basically something pretty special depending on which group they end up in. And then certainly the final party is going to be pretty spectacular as well. So I'm sure we'll talk more about that.
Yes. I know. I had Lou on the show and we were talking about the fact that we don't call it a party, but everyone does call it a party. But I guess it is that celebration of the end of what is a pretty busy week for people. And obviously we're all there to do business. And sometimes, we want to celebrate that business that we've done over the week. So yeah, we are allowed to party. Now, sustainability is also a huge topic in tourism. How are you incorporating sustainable practices into TRENZ and into the region itself?
Yeah, so look, I know the venue teams are certainly that's a big topic for them, and that'll be a big topic for. So we've got a new caterer that signed up, starting TRENZ with Montana coming on board. So I know the venue guys are working with them, looking at how do we make sure that we're reducing any of the kind of the typical coffee cup type things and so forth, and been really cognizant in terms of what we're doing from a waste perspective there. Certainly, I think that the transport plans, and I know working with the TIA guys, there's a lot of effort going into making sure that we're coordinating coaches and some of those types of things for shifting people out of Auckland to get down here. I think overall sustainability is kind of wired into the DNA of most of our tourism businesses here. So look, we've had the Rotorua Sustainable Business Charter or Tourism Business Charter running for well over 25 years now. Many of the foundation businesses for that are still businesses that you'd say are kind of household names in terms of here locally. They're all really committed in terms of just continuing to continually refine their own kind of practices and processes. It's what we tend to find with them actually more often than not is they're all really humble. None of them want to talk about it because they all go, oh, but we haven't fixed this yet and we've still got to do more. But they do some incredible work in terms of you sit with their advisor and they're into so all the way back up their supply chain for their retail goods, for example. How do we remove packaging out of that? So it's all those kind of little details that I know everyone's really focused in terms of refining, which is obviously what we'll be looking to do. I mean, down at the EEC, Council fortunately is just finishing drilling another bore, so heading into TRENZ. Hopefully it's not going to be too cold in May, but we should basically have the geothermal heating on. Nice. So certainly another kind of way in which we look to reduce the footprint overall.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully you've booked that beautiful weather that we love here in the Central North Island.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. It's always blue and sunny here. Don't look outside. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Now, let's get on to the final night, the farewell to TRENZ. It's not an official part of the TRENZ program this year. What can you tell me about it? I know there will be some secrets, but what are you allowed to share?
Oh, even I'm not sure what I'm allowed to share, so I'll do my best. I mean, I think the first thing was and your comment earlier in the interview is kind of telling that for a lot of people when they talk about TRENZ, the last TRENZ in Rotorua, the final night definitely does come up as something which I get reflected back to me quite regularly. And so I think when we had the discussion about we finished TRENZ, there was certainly a feeling that we needed to kind of commit to holding a final night celebration. And so we've taken that on board. I can confirm it will be up at Skyline. So they're very graciously come to the party again in terms of hosting that. They know that they're probably just as nervous as I am in terms of, how do we live up to what was a pretty spectacular last few events up there actually. So that's certainly, again, the focus in terms of just making sure that we exceed people's expectations in terms of that final night.
Yeah, it must be a real challenge for them because we've had it up there a few times now and it's always incredible. So how do they keep raising the bar every year on, I guess there are different people coming to TRENZ, but they would be themselves, I guess, setting those standards that they'd want to improve and increase and just have it even better every time. So can't wait to see that. Beyond TRENZ, are there any other fun or unique events happening in Rotorua around the same time that our international buyers or visitors should check out?
Look, the main one actually, interestingly, I think it's the Rotorua Marathons on the weekend before. So if there's any runners amongst them and they're really keen to do one of the iconic marathons of New Zealand where you're running around our lake, I'd encourage them to come a little bit early and if they get in touch, I'm sure we can hook them up with some tickets for the marathon. So that would probably be the key one that's happening. Beyond that, it's a pretty standard time of year. There's always sort of stuff going on, but there's nothing sort of too major. TRENZ is the major event for that week. So that's where all the focus is going.
Yeah, really cool. And how do you see Rotorua's tourism industry evolving over the next few years? What trends are you starting to see?
Yeah, look, I think there was an announcement last Friday. Look, the Oriel Foster Trust had a big announcement out looking that they're going to market for a new 5-star hotel down on the lakefront next to Wairakei Spa. And I think that's probably reflective of what we're starting to see across the kind of broader landscape is yields lifting. We're starting to see, I think, some of that investment that a lot of operators made through those COVID years to lift the quality and price points of their products. And we're seeing that right across the board to pōhiri through to some of the spa products. I think we're going to continue to see a little bit more of that, just the sector kind of evolving into a little bit more of that kind of premium end of the market. And that's only a good thing. I think certainly that's the contribution we'll be looking to make to New Zealand. I think we're fortunate we've got a council led by Mayor Tapsell that's really invested in terms of getting the sector working. And so again, it'll just be continuing to think about where do we need to see further or continued investment in those mixed-use public spaces. How do we continue to support reinvestment across the industry? So very much, I think that COVID was quite good in a lot of ways, and then it gave people a bit of a break to look at their kind of business and how they were operating and where they needed to spend some money. But I think now the trick is how do we make sure that we can continue to see that reinvestment over the next few years.
Yeah, definitely. And I think just talking about those lessons through COVID, I think one of the big things that I've heard from some of the operators over there is that it's given them that chance to reflect on the mix of markets that they also cater to. So it's, that breathing space to kind of sit back and go, okay, well, where should I be focusing my efforts internationally to get business to come in as well? So, which is a good thing. What's your message to tourism operators attending TRENZ this year?
Well, I guess the message is the same pretty much anyway. Always turn up, soak it up, enjoy, hopefully transact lots of business, because that's ultimately what it's all about. But certainly for those tourism operators that are travelling into Rotorua, I would really encourage them to get out and about and to make the most of all we've got to offer. I know, again, all our local operators will be really happy to see them and to welcome them. And that's certainly probably the message overall.
Yeah, awesome. And if a visitor only had one day in Rotorua, what's your ultimate itinerary recommendations?
Well, first of all, I'd probably tell them that one day is not enough and they need to go back and talk to their travel agent about booking some extra nights. It sort of reminds me of the story of, I think there's some American tourists that were kind of bemoaning that the one thing they were really pissed off about their trip to New Zealand and Rotorua was that they only had booked for 7 nights. So, I back that up. Look, for me, I guess it's probably just, it always depends on what a visitor's looking for. For me, I can't help but be a little bit passionate about the redwoods and jumping on a bike and going and enjoying some of the mountain bike trails, maybe a soak in one of the hot pools, whether that's down the Secret Spot or Polynesian Spa or Wairiki. There's plenty to choose from there. And then I'd probably head to somewhere like Poko or on the Point to finish it off.
Nice. Sounds like a pretty good day. But yes, fortunately, for all of us coming to TRENZ, we will be there longer than one day. So hopefully everybody's planning a little bit of pre and post in there to enjoy some of those exciting offers that you have in town. So look, that's all I've got for you today, Andrew. So thank you so much for joining me, and thanks in advance for the welcome that you guys are providing to us all for TRENZ. We're really excited about it and look forward to finding out all those little secrets that no one can tell me about.
No, we just can't share them yet. I'm so sorry. But they wouldn't be a surprise if we shared them.
I know. Look, I try every year to get the host city to tell me what's going to go on, but it hasn't happened yet. But that's okay. It gives us something to talk about after the event, and maybe we'll get some of those operators who've got some exciting new product on the show as well to talk about and see how their launch went at TRENZ. Yeah,
fantastic. Cool. Hey, thank you so much. I'm looking forward to seeing you at TRENZ.
Absolutely. Ka kite.
Cool. See you.